We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, a special edition, episode 500 of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I am your man behind the microphone and your current Scholars of Wrestling world champion. I am Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, the OG Undisputed Scholar himself. You know him, you love him. He is the one and only Scholar Tark. Scholar Tark, how are we feeling tonight?
I'm feeling absolutely amazing, Jeff. You're at episode 500. We've actually made it to 500 episodes. Oh my God, so many up, so many down, so many front, back, right, left, forward, backwards, all over. We are at episode 500 and we're still going strong. I'm super excited. Let's get right into this. Hello, champ. Hello, champ.
Well, with that underway, let's bring in the last of our crew tonight. The last, but certainly not least. You also know him. You also love him. You dispute the credibility of his belt, but it doesn't matter because you love him all the same. He is your AEW Collision World Champion, quote unquote. He is the one and only Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, how are you feeling tonight on episode 500?
As I live and breathe. Gentlemen, congratulations. 500 episodes. I mean, what an accomplishment. Truly, especially champ to champ, the struggles of just carrying, you know, our, our, our just, what should I say, our companies on our back. Me as the AEW Collision World Champion. It's so good to be with you two gentlemen. Shout out to, of course, Scholar Jimmy, who can't be with us, and of course, my arch rival, Scholar Brian, with the technical difficulties. Congratulations to you as well, sir. I'm ready to talk to you about the man that everybody can see and to
Oh,
celebrate with you, gentlemen.
Oh, yes. And we are absolutely going to be going down memory lane, celebrating 500 episodes of this madness, tomfoolery, and scholar ishness. We're going to be talking about it
Scholar,
all. Scholarishness. It's a word. Look it up.
sure.
Google Magic,
Yes.
my friends.
Yes. This show is magical, and we're going to kick it off in the most magical way possible with a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed. We shall once again just go ahead, walk over to that curtain and peek behind it for the 500th time. At least I think it's been 500 times. I don't know how many times we actually have done
Close
backstage news on
enough.
this show. So we'll just say it's roughly around 500th time and check in on a little backstage news.
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 News. News.
The echo will never go
News.
away, and we're never going to get a sound clip for it. Meh.
News. There's a
But
long echo.
anyway,
News. News.
Ooh.
News.
news indeed. But yes, move. There were, as much as we're on the road to WrestleMania and Dynasty and 500 episodes and all these big occasions, there were a couple of things of note that we cannot help but comment on. The first of which being the unhappy news of the sudden retirement of Ring of Honor and TNA legend Homicide, citing a brain tumor of all things. That's a myriad
Ooh.
of ongoing health issues that are stacking up. So just this past week, he had his final, what would end up being his final match, and yeah, Homicide is now retired. A wrestler who really, for fans of our generation, really ended up becoming a symbol of the independent scene for such a long time and just being a staple of that scene for so many years growing up, no matter where he was, no matter what company he was in. Pete, I know you have a very special little bit of history with you and Homicide. So why don't you take us back? what's a good memory you've got of Homicide? Tell us a little bit about it.
Let me tell you something. It's sad to see a man has to retire like this. But the man has put in homicides, some great matches, some great moments in his career. I mean, we're talking in ROH, we're talking about TNA. Some of the great memories I'm going to bring up to you, scholars, is of course his tag team, LAX. I got that autograph right here, ladies and gentlemen. Conan, Homicide, Hernandez, LAX. I love them in TNA. And of course, you pair them with the phenomenal AJ Styles. You pair them with the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, and you have incredible tag team matches in TNA. When Homicide, AJ, Christopher Daniels, you see them as X Division stars, which in their own right were great X Division stars, as Homicide is. But him as a tag team partner and his chemistry with Hernandez and the matches they would have in the six-sided ring, in the Hell in the Cell, or in the cage matches, the ladder matches, what they did was truly incredible. Even Ultimate X, when they had their Ultimate X, the man is a very talented individual, always, always just giving you great matches. Who didn't love the Gringo Killer? Who, I'll tell you what, back in the day when I was horsing around the backyard, ladies and gentlemen, and my brother from another would want to give me a vertebraker, which is Homicide's finisher. You know,
Very
crazy
bad
move,
idea.
very bad
Big
idea,
dude,
but
very strong. Oof.
But let me tell you something. It's still, he knew how to hit that move. He did it beautifully. And it just, he was a great entertainer to watch. I truly going to be missed in the ring. Like I said, favorite memory, obviously his TNA run in it with LAX, that tag team. The shirts, the hats, the signed. I think I spent $100 on this whole little package just because that was the hottest thing going in TNA at that time for me.
And I think speaking of the Gringo Killer, I think it was originally called the Cop Killer, but when it came to TNA, they had to change the name. I believe that's true.
I believe you are correct. Was there? Well, you got under TV deals, and they
Naturally,
probably don't
yeah.
want Spike TV going.
Gringo
After
is bad enough, but
right before Impact Wrestling, you had a series of 4 episodes of Cops, and then you're gonna have Cops, and it's like, oh, and here comes TNA Wrestling with the Cop Killer finisher to kick us off. Not the best look.
uh but yeah. Fool, any memories from you about Homicide over the years?
To be perfectly honest, Homicide wasn't someone I really followed over the years. I just knew of him and just what I've seen him when I watched some old school TNA matches. But when it comes to like trying to think, oh, what do I have any memories? I honestly don't have any. It's just really whatever X Division matches I tend to watch because when I watched TNA, it was mainly for the X Division. Uh, but in all honest, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't have any like connections like how Pete has the memorabilia that of the signing and how he's such a big LAX fan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There it is. Very lovely. Very lovely. Damn glare. But
Listen, I'm having technical
it's
difficulties
still,
over here.
but it's still, it's like, it's not like I don't know him. I don't know of him. I've known, I've, I've known like some of his work in TNA just from what I've actually am able to watch because I was definitely leaning more on the WWE side. Whenever I watched TNA, it was mainly just to watch like the AJ Styles, Samoa Joes, Christopher Daniels, not Aces of Eights or main event mafias. But yeah, uh, but I'm not going to just look at me like, oh yeah, I don't know anything, so I'm just not going to say anything. It's just I actually didn't know the details of his retirement until you said that a brain tooth. That sucks. That's such a sad thing to hear, but you just got to take care of your health. And if it requires you having to end your career, whatever you can to help and just I won't say speedy recovery, but it would just do your best to keep yourself as healthy as possible. And you may not have to be in the ring anymore, but doing whatever you can just to give your insights for future WWE, future wrestlers, independents or on the mainstream like TNA?
I could see
Because
him being
was
like
he
talent
still
relations.
was he still working like under the TNA, or was it just really independents
I
that
think
he
it
was working with?
right now, recently, I think it was more independence. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
he absolutely has a lot of doors still open to him, I'm sure. But this may sound a little bit weird, but whenever I think of Homicide, the first, I obviously he's got his whole history in TNA and ROH and all that. But the big memories of the first thing that comes to mind whenever I think of Homicide is CM Punk's impression of Homicide, and it would just
oh, this
tell.
is gonna be good.
I've got two stories. There's the story that CM Punk had of when Homicide got drunk and stayed over at CM Punk's house. Have you ever heard the story?
No.
No, basically it's of course it's like after it's after like a show or something. Everyone goes out, parties, gets drunk, has a bunch of beers or whatever. Obviously, CM Punk is the DD, so he's just like, okay, just to crash on the couch, do whatever, you know, have a good night. He wakes up, Punk wakes up, and he hears this weird noise coming from like down the hall, and apparently it's Homicide, like messing with his zipper. He's like, "Yo, dude, I gotta pee, dude." Like, no, don't do that. You're not in the bathroom. Don't go. Like, what? No, I'm in the bathroom. No, you're not in the bathroom. Go to the bathroom. Here, I'll bring your ass to the bathroom. So yeah,
Did he
that's
make
how.
it?
Oh yeah, he made it,
Okay.
and he just fell asleep in the bathroom apparently, or something like
He
that.
just hit the rim.
Oh,
So yeah,
oh God, that's just nasty.
and then I think in the same interview, the same shoot interview, he told another story about he was doing his impression of Homicide while Gabe Sapolsky was trying to get into contact with, just trying to talk to like Punk and just trying to get everything together. Where where Homicide was supposed to wrestle Satoshi Kojima in a Ring of Honor crossover show, and so
Brian's missed for that one.
CM Punk basically prank called Gabe Sapolsky as Homicide, and it was like, "Yo, I'm so sorry, Gabe. I I've been wanting to wrestle Kojima. I don't want. I wish I can't make the show." And he just keeps going on, and Gabe Sapolsky is just like absolute losing his mind, and he's just not. And eventually, Punk just goes into just starts saying random stuff as Homicide, like, "Yeah, uh, I wish I could have wrestled Kojima. It would go, man. It was my lifelong dream. I wish I could wrestle Kojima, Lariat, Kojima." Eventually, when he just goes on and on like this, I can't tell like Punk is. But apparently, he eventually goes into eventually when Gabe Sapolsky calms down, it's like, "Yo, Gabe, this is CM Punk. I'm just effing with you. Everything's fine." That's like the kind of dickhead CM Punk story that we wish we could see more of today instead of the legit serious ones. But those kinds of stories are what I think of when I think of Homicide. At just like the kind of vibes that he brought like, along with him. So
I gotta look up that story because that's just hilarious.
if I'll have to look up the shoot bits and pieces of the shoot interview. I believe it's him and Samoa Joe during the Ring of Honor days. Yeah, I'll look
Okay.
it up. I'll pass it along on one of our scholars group chats. Yeah, with all these stories and much more, that should tell you everything you need to know about the kind of legacy that a guy like Homicide has in wrestling. I'm sure he's going to have a place in the world of wrestling for years to come if he wants it. Until then, keep your health alive. But now, for a little bit of ridiculousness, it was just also reported this week that Alberto Del Rio had a bit of a dumbass moment in AAA. He is apparently currently banned from AAA for apparently attacking a fan and attempting to jump the rail. I say attempting to because apparently he failed to jump the rail and attack a fan. On a scale of one to 10, scholars, quick talk. How big of a dumbass is Alberto Del Rio right now? Go.
12. I mean, well, considering the story of like some fans throwing, the story is fans throwing coins at him that would agitate him to the point where he can want to just go ahead, lose his temper, try and jump over the railing, grabbing a chair, throwing it at the people, missing, and from what I heard, hitting an old lady that needed to go to the hospital afterwards. So good job, Alberto. You had just proven why I don't like bringing him up on the scholars of wrestling. I don't like it even how Jeff does the closings with all the. But you already knew that because all I could think about is I am Alberto Del Rio, and you already knew that. So shame on you, fool. At least on that part.
Pete,
But
scale of one. I'm sorry. Go on. I thought you were done.
no, that's all I really got to say. Is just you just got to look. You just got to be better. You can't be do. You're what champion is he? He is the AAA. Oh God, this is gonna bother me. I believe he's like one of their mid card champions. And again, you're trying to represent your company and you're doing dumb shit like this. It's just no wonder why the mainstream shows don't want to hire you and just be better. Be better.
And Pete, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a dumbass is Alberto Del Rio? Go.
Let me tell you something, Alberto Del Rio. If the wise lady would not be so inclined to yell, let me tell you how much of a fool you are. My God, buddy. You had it all. You were at the top. You were champion. And now you wrestle at high schools for 16 people. And you fight them. It is so incredible how I truly think, scholars, that in the world of professional wrestling, I've never seen a performer who's literally had the momentum he has gone, especially with Ricardo as his ring announcer, having all the jazz in WWE, becoming champion, doing these epic battles, with JBL and having all these feuds and John Cena's and the WrestleMania moments, and now to be not even wanted by an independent scene, not even talked about in any capacity because you're such a problem in the industry that nobody wants to work with you. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's when you have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, I may be Alberto Del Rio, but I guess everybody knows that, and nobody likes that because my attitude is ass. This man, like I said, best of luck, whatever he does, but wrestling is not his career anymore since, I mean, how do you let somebody come in who almost punched a fan? We got in a fight
You,
with a fan and then tried to hop the guardrail and then failed at hopping the guardrail. You're a professional athlete, you can't hop a guardrail? This is fucking track and field 101.
I will tell you that. Uh, Speaking of attitudes being ass, I think with that, it's time to just go into the one of the bigger highlights of this week in professional wrestling. This week on Monday Night Raw, where we actually got our first explanation heel promo from John Cena. We got a lot from him. We got, well, first of all, one thing we did not get is a significant change in his music, his attire. He was the exact same, and we get nothing because we have earned nothing, according to John Cena.
He didn't even acknowledge cameraman Stu.
He did not even acknowledge cameraman Stu.
No.
Cameraman Stu is just as disappointed in him.
Usually,
I didn't even catch that. That's
he
brilliant.
holds it up, and then you just see him not even hold it up, and then like bring it to the side. And I was like, Stu, sorry, I apologize, Scholar Jeff.
No, it's okay because there's absolutely a lot that went into this. There's between what we do or are not or did not get, the way that was executed, the way he lambasted absolutely everyone, both pro Cena people, anti Cena people. The little kid
The,
in the front row
the
looked
children.
absolutely heartbroken. Let me just pitch it over to you, Pete. You can go first. Well, everyone in the days leading up, it seemed like everyone was speculating. Okay, what's John Cena going to say? What's John Cena going to do? How is he going to be dressed differently? Is he going to come out to different music? How is this going to be addressed? What are his first heel words going to be? And I feel like there's been reactions all running the gamut. So Pete, let's hear from you first. What did you make of John Cena's heel promo this week? And what did you think of it?
Well, first off, I don't understand how we go that you segue from Alberto Del Rio and then you segue to John Cena's heel. I mean, John Cena's heel promo was absolutely fantastic. Let's
We're
even
talking
talk
about
about,
attitudes being ass.
I mean, let's talk about the beginning. Him just standing there getting the boos, not acknowledging cameraman Stu. And then he has the microphone, and boos. He goes to leave the ring, and everybody goes crazy. And then boos. He goes to leave. Everybody, he had the people in the palm of his hand, and just how he just turned it on everybody else, to attack everybody, to look at the children and not obviously see the memes that were extreme with fuck them kids, because I think that's a little extreme WWE and fan base. But for him to be like you caused this, you guys are a toxic relationship to me, like, and just that to put it on them and be like, I've given you everything for 16 years, and they could just do so much with this angle. Like, they could go like to great lengths, and I think that this is just the beginning. And I like how Cody came in and you had that little altercation. Like I said, I know that we're going to get much more into the weeds. It's just a little synopsis on the top, but just head to toe, like what a great promo, start to finish. I'm looking forward to when they meet up next. This is what WrestleMania season is about. Give me the build up. Give me why Cody versus Cena is going to be the main event, the true main event of night two of WrestleMania.
Oh, I think it absolutely will be. And there's a lot more other things that are going to be set up for the next round of major shows coming from both major companies. But before we get to all that, Tarek, can you give us some thoughts about what you thought about this John Cena promo? What'd you think of it, and did it meet your expectations going into Monday Night Raw this week?
Considering this is going to be the first promo of many more promos, because still have another 5 weeks until WrestleMania. I actually thought, yeah, this is such a great promo, because how most people online put it, it was the it was the quote quote you people promo. It's like, I've done this because of you people, but it's the you people promo actually done right. It's actually the people promo that actually makes sense, because yeah, we have been really a toxic crowd towards John Cena for over the years. And he's like, he keeps winning and winning and winning. And we're still just going, not really approving, no matter because he's winning, because Cena wins, LOL. Uh, it reached that point where we were tired because he's beating all of our favorite people. All these superstars are being built as monsters only to be fed for John Cena. And it's just, yeah, we are that fan base, or just be like, we hate your booking. You are trying your best to be the good, happy person. And we were the toxic people that were just basically like, yeah, you're all happy. Well, we don't care, boo. So it was that successful you people promo, unlike uh when they turned Becky Lynch heel all those years ago, where she was trying to do a you people promo after she turned heel, but everyone was just like, no, we still love you. Yeah, you're saying we suck. Yeah, yeah, Becky, you're right. We do suck because we still love you. Yay! But when it comes, yeah, Cena's works on all ends, and Cody Rhodes' response to it was just as great because he's looking at this and he's just like, I look at you and you're not the John Cena that I want to face at WrestleMania. I don't know who this is. So by the time WrestleMania comes, I don't want this bitch John Cena. I want the real John Cena. I want the old Stone Cold. I want the old John Cena. The one that does all the make a wish. The one that's the 16-time world champion. Okay, I'm adding more to it because I'm trying to make this the old Stone Cold Vince McMahon promo from the invasion angle, but it's generally the same thing. But from what Cena said, from how he gave his explanation, and it made perfect sense. And Cody Rhodes' response to it, ooh, excuse me, Cody Rhodes' response to it was perfect for the beginning of the building for the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. Granted, it took some time away from the other angles on Raw, including like Jey Uso squashing Austin Theory and him overpowering Gunther, but that feud just continues to just be one of the most boring things going into WrestleMania for me, which is such a shame for me because it's Gunther. But it was worth it because it's the biggest angle in WWE right now. And I can't wait to see when The Rock gets involved. How like what they'll give a reason, like when did John Cena actually sell his soul? Was it at that moment, or how far ahead were they planning this? Just it like in universe. I couldn't be any more I couldn't be any more intrigued from that. And uh actually, I'm trying to think what else they did on Raw this week. They started throwing in more hints for the Intercontinental Championship,
Oh
for the
yes.
eventual multi-man matches, which for me personally, if they're going to do a multi-man match, I don't want it just to be like a six-man ladder match or just a free for all.
You're talking about the
For me
Intercontinental
personally,
title right now, right?
yeah, I pretty much said all I can with John Cena because there's really nothing more else to say. Just can't wait to see what happens down in future build with The Rock being involved in all that. Uh,
Right. But now we're
but
talking
now,
about the Intercontinental title. It's funny. When I saw this past week on Raw, obviously we got Penta defeating Ludwig Kaiser, and then in the post-match promo, Penta declares that he's going after the Intercontinental title. Did I miss something, or is this something you think is actually going to happen, a multi-man match, or is it going to be just a Penta versus Braun Breaker for the IC title?
oh, it's definitely going to be a multi-man match because you got Finn Balor, you got now Dominic wanting the Intercontinental title because you had when they had the IC title match, you see Dom look like grabbing it and mirroring Eddie Guerrero when he held the Intercontinental Championship years ago, completely mirroring. There's actually been side by side comparisons how Dom looks. He's even wearing like the Latino Heat esque shirt. So there's that. There's Dom. There's Finn. There's Penta. There's now Braun because of course he's the champion. There's AJ Styles, who's been having some issues with Braun Breaker, possibly Karrion Cross. And then there's Sheamus because he'll obviously he'll definitely come back to go for the WrestleMania or to go for the Intercontinental title one more time. And like I said, if there was going to be a multi-man match, I'd honestly rather it be a gauntlet match rather than just a ladder match where all the participants are involved in at once. I would like to see a gauntlet because WWE knows how to do gauntlet matches. We've had so many main events, gauntlet main event matches for Raw. I don't recall if there have ever been any for SmackDown off the top of my head, but when I know that there have been gauntlet matches on Raw, that main event, they put on bangers. I would love to see an Intercontinental Championship gauntlet match with Braun Breaker actually starting it, being the champion. But
That would be fun.
that's honest. Honestly, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see it happen because when was the last? I don't even remember the last time we've had a gauntlet match.
At
And
least I think the last gauntlet match we had was, at least in WWE, was like years ago.
yeah, it's
Like
just something I miss.
yeah,
I think
I know
I remember.
AEW has done them more frequently than that in recent years, for sure.
Mhm. But who are kidding? As much as I would love to see that happen, they're probably just going to do like a ladder match just so we could have a spot fest for WrestleMania. Um, with let's see what else happened on Raw. We had Rhea Ripley inserting herself into the Io Sky Bianca Belair contract signing, just adding her name into it. So it's very interesting that they're really making her booking her as the heel for this storyline. Even Bianca is kind of pulling heelish tactics, and it's just like I know that the whole story is Io getting looked over and she's getting really pissed about it, but I actually feel like she's only in this match to be the one that gets pinned,
And
just so I.
if so, that's going to be two WrestleManias in a row where she's a champion going in and she gets pinned.
It's such a shame because she honestly deserves better. I mean, I love that she's in the triple threat because, in all honesty, she deserves to be in those matches with Rio and Bianca. I think she's more than enough earned that spot. But I just don't want it to be. I don't want her to be in this just to be pinned. I actually would like to see her be the underdog that ends up winning because she's gotten to a point where she's getting this may be extreme, but she kind of gets that like that Daniel Bryan esque type of feeling. She's really over with the crowd, even with like you have dead crowds, and when she's in her matches, she gets them pumped. She brings the crowd back if they're tired and not being into it right away. So I would like to see her successfully retain, but again, I just feel like she's in there to be the person pinned. So neither Rhea or Bianca will get pinned.
And Scholar Pete, before we move on, any other thoughts about all of these matches or anything more that have been set up on Monday Night Raw? Any other Monday Night Raw thoughts from your account? What's jumping out to you?
Uh, Similar to what Tarek said earlier, Penta versus Braun. Who doesn't want to see that? You like where Penta hands the IC title over to Braun. It's like, listen, like I'm coming. Here you go. Like it's on. People feel the intensity. That is going to be just an aura match. What a nice little setup. Is it multi-man? Sure. Is it just a one-on-one? Sure. All you know is when that match comes at WrestleMania, you know it's going to be one of the ones that just pump up action with pumped up superstars, whether it be two or six of them. Um, to the Rhea Ripley thing and Io Sky and the Bianca Belair, I did like that with Scholar Tark saying about the heelish remarks that Bianca Belair has done. If you looked on her Twitter, she's like, "Oh, it's so nice that your name is, Rhea Ripley, and you could just insert yourself into this match." I think it's a fun. I think it's not a very strong storyline at the moment. Like, I think it needs a little bit work to make it not. I'm not saying this is going to blow the roof off of everybody at WrestleMania, but give it a little bit of sizzle. This is one of your championship matches. It's a big thing going on. Make it bigger, make it better. But all in all, I thought the Raw, like I said, it was all about the Cena, seeing what was going on with that, and in closing, like I said, it's 5 weeks away from Mania, but we're building. You have coming up. You have the CM Punk for Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins coming. Like, it's good time to be a wrestling fan. That's all I know. Scholar Jeff and Tark. It's a good goddamn time to be a wrestling fan.
I actually have a scholar's quick talk for both of you. Uh, do you see if since we still have another 5 weeks for build up, do you see them actually having Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky main event, possibly night one of WrestleMania? Or do you think they'll go with the Roman versus Punk versus Seth? Which, quick statement, if you're not going to have Roman or Punk be at the show, don't have Seth just come out and say, I'm only here to announce I'm gonna meet them on SmackDown. Just have a video, just do it be a video package, and then say, oh, they're gonna go from face to face on SmackDown. Don't have Seth basically give the people of Brussels, which applaud the people of Brussels, continuing to show that the international crowd is a 10 times better WWE audience than anyone here in the States, possibly New York aside. But yeah, which could you see as main eventing night one?
Personally, briefly put, neither of them. I think my guts is telling me that they're going to stick to the plan of doing Jey Uso versus Gunther, for better or for worse.
I don't think that's opening. That's opening one of the shows. That's not good.
Hey,
This
you
that
gave me a
that
scholar's
story has
quick
been.
talk. That's quickly done.
Uh, I
I,
don't agree. I don't agree on that at all. That is possibly one of the worst matches that's being built for Mania. Because God,
Never said it had to be
oh,
good. You didn't say it had to be good.
I
Pete,
think
oh, but
I truly think that it's going to be the main event of the first night is going to be Roman, Seth, and CM Punk. There's no other way. You don't. How do you not put Mr. WrestleMania fucking Roman Reigns, who is uh main event in more WrestleManias than anybody right now, going to do another one, giving CM Punk his final WrestleMania main event, even though we've had this conversation on this channel many of times. Of course, like and subscribe to the channel if you would kindly. But it ends up being that you get CM Punk to have his main event. You maybe put Jey Uso second night after 2 matches before Cody and Cena. That way, if Jay wins, like that's that feel good moment. You have a nice little breather, and then we have heel Cena maybe win the 17th champion as a heel. But without question, I see Roman, Punk, and Rollins ending night one.
okay. But just to point out, you say he's Roman is the one with the most ones in recent memory. It's actually he's main evented the most WrestleManias in all with 9. And if he main events this one, he'll be in the double digits, 10 main events of WrestleMania.
That's why you're the
Oof.
undisputed scholar Tark.
Hmm.
well, I'll tell you what, WWE isn't the only one gearing up for their next major show because AEW is racking them up just as much because they've got Dynasty right around the corner. And we kicked things off on this past Dynamite, or at least close enough to it. First, we kicked off with another international title match set for Dynasty. And that was a triple threat match between Speedball Mike Bailey and Ricochet, both qualifying to move on to face Kenny Omega. So yeah, there's your multi-man international championship match. Speedball Mike Bailey, Ricochet, and Kenny Omega for the international title. That alone is like
That's gonna be a
that
great one.
that sounds like Tony Khan booking if ever there was some.
Hell, that fatal four way on Dynamite alone was just more than worthy of for international championship. Just seeing Mark Davis with or no, not Mark, Mike Bailey doing that bit with Orange Cassidy. Just comedy gold. I love Orange Cassidy. And Ricochet just being that cowardly piece of shit heel. He's really coming to his own with this character, and him basically throwing himself in the pit to get the pin was just pure weaselly heel genius, and I just love every second of it. It was a very good episode of Dynamite.
Oh yeah, and we didn't stop there either, because later on we got the rubber match between John Moxley and Cope, and John Moxley, the crazy bastard that he is, ended up getting a board full of nails stuck in his back. Like,
Insane,
why are
insane.
you not dead?
Well,
It's
he's not dead because it was a gimmick. They were gimmick nails. If he actually landed on real nails, he would definitely be dead. Those nails would be like not just sticking out of his back, they'd be in his back. He probably wouldn't be able to move. But oh man, that was I am you guys know me, I am not a death match type of guy. I used to watch old school ECW, and just as time go past, it's just the more I watch death matches, the more it's just not my thing. I know it is some people's thing, and it's just another section of professional wrestling that people like, that even people we know like. But the more I watch it, the more it's not for me. But I will say this: I saw that suplex happen, and just seeing it stuck in his back, and you have Wheeler Yuta trying to just pull it out. You just see the skin pulling, and I'm just going, okay, this was just absolutely sick, and I absolutely loved it because it was just gruesome. It was gross. It was just all bloody and nasty. John Moxley, you crazy son of a bitch! I'm getting tired. I'm counting down the days when you lose that goddamn title, but goddamn that you just got was like, oh, gruesome, gruesome. But definitely something that actually brought the ratings up. So it worked. It worked on some end.
You can't say that John Moxley is not right now the heart and soul of AEW. I mean, the man may be having the AEW championship. He may not be doing much with it, but the man puts on performances like we saw this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Like to see those nails in his back, the dedication he has, him and Adam Cope, the Copester.
Apparently, apparently he drove 10 hours because of the whole weather situation. He drove 10 to 11 hours just to do that spot. Like you crazy bastard. Respect, respect. Pat yourself on the back.
And that's why
Careful.
I'm a fan of John Moxley, and I probably always will, even when the storyline he's in sucks like it is. But because he
But that's what
does
I
stuff
mean.
like this, he's awesome.
Yeah, he shows the passion. You gotta respect it. You gotta love it. It's craziness though. That shit was crazy.
As far as being the biggest, most vibrant star in AEW, in my book, that can only go to one person, and that is timeless Tony Storm, who is once again absolutely killing it on commentary, on promos. Everything that she's doing has been absolute gold, including officially challenging Megan Bain post victory to another women's title match at Dynasty, with kicking off the post match promo with the legendary words, "My God, you're a huge bitch."
Am am I in the minority here? I just don't like. I get the appeal of Megan Bayne being a big woman, but I don't know what it is about her that I'm just not connecting with. Maybe it was just what happened on her debut and her not selling of Chris Statlander coming in for the save for with a chair and just instead of being the heel that leaves, she's just standing there in that whole awkward back and forth. But I don't know what it is. But I'm just not invested as I should be of Megan Bayne. It makes sense that she would be going for the world title, but I'm just going, I'm not interested. Is it just is there something I'm missing? Is it just that
No,
whole
it's more like
fiasco of the
no, I think it's more like yeah, Megan Bain has presence and she's a big old thick girl, but really resting bitch face is not a personality. Yeah, she's just quite large and really the charisma of Tony Storm is just like carrying all this through. Like I'm not sure how much you caught of Tony Storm on commentary, but that alone w- carried all of my interest once again.
I feel I saw people posting that Megan Bain needs a mouthpiece to help
Oh, she
basically,
absolutely does.
and people are pitching the idea of having Stokely be her mouthpiece, and it actually makes sense considering she's having a rivalry with Chris Statlander, who has a history.
That
Uh,
wouldn't be the worst idea in the world.
so yeah, I guess that is just something she needs, but I just maybe it is just the fact that how she came off as kind of the whole unprofessional of not selling Statlander coming in to make that save with the chair on her debut and just was like that made that whole thing awkward. So I'm just like, I don't know if you took matters into your own hands just to basically overhype yourself or just, I don't know. It's just something about her is just not making me be like, okay, I understand you going for the world title. I just don't think you've earned that spot yet. Yes, you're undefeated so far, but
And yes, you are quite large.
and you are a big bitch, but is I guess I just needed more time. If anything, you can't even have her say, "Oh, go for the TBS championship," because they're not going to have her lose to Mercedes Monet, which they're really building up this whole Mercedes Monet versus Athena, which yes, please. Um, but yeah, I guess I just don't know what it is about Megan Bayne that's just not getting me enthralled with her. I guess presence or having her lack of character.
Because
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
presence is all that she's got. Like if you put her next to someone like Tony Storm, who is literally the complete package. She can wrestle, she can cut promos, she looks like $1 million. If you are standing next to her at all of your shortcomings are going to be put right to the surface. And
Hmm.
I feel like that is what, especially after what we saw in what is my feud of the year, my match of the year, my wrestler of the year, like what Tony Storm just came out of with Mariah May was absolutely just some of the best. That's all time stuff right there.
Hmm.
Because
Agreed.
when you've got Megan Bain who was just standing there all thick and whatever with her headdress or whatever, and then you got Tony Storm absolutely also looking great, but also going absolutely buck wild on commentary, talking about you know watching for the shoe, or I'm not afraid of anyone named Bane. I get my back broken every week. Like oh yeah, I'm at Dynasty. I'm gonna rip your tits off. Like yeah, you got to bring in something more because right now Tony is absolutely destroying you right now.
I honestly can't. I don't even know what to add more. Uh,
I'll
It
add
makes sense she
something.
has an
Tony
F5.
Storm, I'll tell you right now, Tony Storm is my wrestler of the year. Tony Storm is match of the year, feud of the year, everything of the year. Tony Storm just became like my favorite wrestler right now, which is I'm surprised to say, but Tony
No,
Storm is
no, you're
undeniable.
absolutely right. She's awesome.
Tony Storm is undeniable, and right now, anyone right next to in her radius is going to seem subpar unless they step it up a whole hell of a lot. And right now, Megan Bain, she is just large. Pete, help me out here. What's happening on Collision? What's
Let me
going on
tell
with
you
Megan Bain
something.
and Tony Storm?
I'm sick and tired, you know. I am your AEW World Collision Champion. And I mean, there's no Dynamite Championship. There's no Dynamite World Champion. But every week we talk about Dynamite. Where is the love for your AEW Collision World Champion and his brand, what he built on with blood, sweat, and tears? When I went for this belt, I put my life on the line to get this belt, and I succeeded because I believe in AEW Collision, not AEW Dynamite. So you asked me, Scholar Jeff, what I wanted to add about AEW Dynamite. I don't want to add nothing. I want to get off this topic of AEW Dynamite, and I want to talk about the real brand, the real number one television show weekly on your Saturday night cable. It's AEW Collision.
Okay, Pete. What did happen on Collision this past week? Huh? What happened? Anything special came out of Collision this week?
Yes, uh, me and Tony Storm were backstage drinking the bubbly, getting frisky. So I actually missed all of AEW Collision just because, I was predisposed with time with Tony Storm. And as Scholar Jeff clearly put just not a moment ago, if she's not the wrestler of the year, the match of the year, person of the year.
I've got the spoiler results right in front of me in my invisible phone against this green screen here. Scholar Scholar's quick talk. Scholar Pete, just give me the name of one wrestler who is on Collision who is going to be on Collision this weekend. Just one wrestler.
We go with Ricochet.
Ricochet is not on the show. Ricochet was on Dynamite, not Collision.
Don't put that title up now because you got that Pete. You don't bring that title back on the show.
Listen, like I
I'll tell
said,
you.
I got to support my girl time with Tony Storm because
I'll
we're
t-
making Hollywood movies in the back. You all know what I'm talking about, Scholars.
oh, and here I thought that Tony Storm had more discerning taste from that. But then again, maybe you're just
Was
playing
Tony
pain and
Storm
you're
on
being
Collision?
modest.
Yes,
Was Tony Storm on Collision?
check the tapes.
Reading the spoiler. Was she on Is she on Collision this week?
No, it was taped after this week's Dynamite. She was already
We've
did
been to
her
Dynamite.
thing.
Yes, we know that. She
Yeah.
wasn't okay.
Listen, Scholar fans, let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
be
we've seen
frank.
it.
Drop in the comments if you think that Scholar Jeff is full of 99 and poo poo, and that indeed I am your Collision champion, and I know what's up about AEW Collision. Drop a comment down below. Support me, and I will.
The logo is still upside down, by the way.
Maybe I'll put it right side up.
Well,
Oh, let's see that. I can't wait to see that.
well, speaking of things being right side up, we would be
Brian's not
remiss if,
here, so I have to continue your
of
guys'
course.
feud in his absence. Oh,
Good to see after 500 episodes, nothing really changes here at the Scholars of Wrestling show. We progress, we evolve, but in all seriousness, this banter, this back and forth, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Even after 500 episodes of this madness, this is the kind of thing that still makes it fun after all this time. Not just a shared love of professional wrestling, not just talking about it, breaking it down, but just being able to talk about it all and share these moments with fellow scholars like you guys. So it's a lot of fun. What's Now that we were looking back after 500 episodes, I know some of us have been here from the start. Other of us have been coming in towards the latter portion of this show. Tell us what's a cherished memory of 500 episodes of Scholars of Wrestling? What's a favorite memory or several memories of the scholar doing this show over the years?
I feel like that's just a that's a topic that we always seem to bring up. So I kind of want to change it a little bit. I'm just trying to think of just start like in between episode 400 and now. And all I can really think about is just how different our like position of enjoyment, like from between episodes 400 and 500. Just, I remember when there was just, we were at a point when it was such a difficult place to be a wrestling fan. Just considering, one, we had WWE still under the still running the creative by from Vince McMahon, and just trying to just always coming to the show thinking, how much more can I do this? Because it's just so hard to find anything to talk about, or B, anything to just want to continue to keep doing this, because it was so difficult. And just think, just in between those times, so much has changed on a historic level of where we're at now, to the point where we have two different brands of professional wrestling that's in the mainstream media. And granted, one was at a low point while the other one was basically just scored like center of the earth, sun levels of hot. And now we settled into a point where WWE is, I won't say cooling down, because it's still an extremely hot product, but it's still like, it's it's great wrestling, it's coherent storylines, great editing, just great storytelling altogether, great character work altogether. And now we're having AEW, who there was one point where it completely lost its way because of just bitterness when CM Punk was still there. There was just them completely losing what they were. And now that Tony Khan has gained got back into control of the creative, it is now just a much more coherent product. Now that we have superstars like Tony Storm, we have so many potential main event talent like your MJF, Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay. Which, in my opinion, as much as I would love to see the Moxley lose the world title to Swerve Strickland, I kind of want to wait and have Will Ospreay win the title, more so than Swerve. But that's just me as a fan. But it's also the realization, hey, it's me as a fan. I have those choices of where I want to see them go. Whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, I have those options, and now I can just wear wrestling shirts again and not feel ashamed that I'm still a wrestling fan. I we're at a point right now where yes, we still have problems with the whole tribalism bullshit, but we're at a point where wrestling is just about every day of the week, and I'm loving every single part of it, from your main roster WWE to your NXT WWE to their NXT part to the WWE's partnership with TNA, and seeing your Joe Hendry show up at the Royal Rumble, seeing your Jordan Grace now being a part of the NXT roster. You have your TNA tag team champions, the Hardy Boys on NXT. So much. You have Moose versus Obafemi. Uh, and that's just the developmental. We have The Rock as now is pretty much the new Vince McMahon as the final boss. And now we have John John Cena, someone who we thought we would never see as a heel again, pulled off one of the biggest heel turns, who is now at the levels of your Stone Cold Steve Austins, your Hulk Hogan's. Uh, it's like we are getting that. We are at that point where we're getting consistent, great television from both shows, and it just I couldn't be any more happier to be a wrestling fan and continue to discuss it every week here on the Scholars of Wrestling. And we're 500 episodes in, and I'm just now looking forward to what we have when we get to episode 600 with with again the faces that started all me, Brian, and Jeff, and we're getting the new faces of Charlie and temporarily Jeremy, and now Pete. Just continue to expand what we do here on the Scholars of Wrestling, and trying to uh, interact more with the rest of the wrestling world. Me bringing the world title to independent shows, and having sharing photos with their world champions while they're holding the Scholars Championship. I'm holding their world championship. There's so many ways of continue showing how much we love professional wrestling through this show, and I can't wait to continue it more with you guys.
Yeah, I think you really nailed something right out of the gate, that over the past 100 episodes alone, how much momentous history that we have engaged with just over the past couple of years of between the last 100 episodes. We got a lot. I was just looking past our listings. That was right in the middle. Episode 400 was right in the middle of all of this drama between Vince McMahon and the buyout, and going over everything being owned under a new parent company, TKO. Like you said, we've got The Rock, who has ended up being the literal and metaphorical final boss of WWE. But we also had a lot of, for all the ups, we also had plenty of downs too. We lost Bray Wyatt, we lost Jay Briscoe, but at the same time, we also had a new champion. We've got the crowning of Cody Rhodes, finishing the story last year. We've got the rise of Bad Bunny. We've got so many different things, so much history in the making. And Sting's final match, the retirement of the icon Sting. We've just got so much history just in the last 100 episodes, and we are here for it all. It just is mind-boggling to me how much we've crammed in, not just over the past 100 years, but
100 years?
100 episodes. Yeah, 100 years. Hey, till we're 90.
Till we're 90.
Yeah, all slips of the tongue aside, I think now that we're 500 episodes deep to all this, I'm looking back and thinking about how much of all of our collective episodes, how much of that is going to be a time capsule of sorts of so many different years of pro wrestling history are going to be captured with over 10 years worth of professional wrestling history, all of the changes, all of the shifts. And we're going to have all of our reactions preserved for all of these memories for all time. That is absolutely mind blowing for me to think about. For everything we've talked about and all the memes, all the jokes, all the ongoing gags and bits, all the titles we're going to win, or even if they don't exist, it's it's mind blowing. The fact that, hey, we're all still here, we all did this together, and from what it seems like, we're not nearly done yet.
Pete being the newest scholar on this show, and I'm trying to think how many episodes you've been on. Not that many. You became a scholar in training. You became a sit last year, and now you're starting your first fully official year as a scholar. What do you got? Like, how do you feel? What's your favorite thing to talk that you've done on this show so far?
Hello, gentlemen. Let me
Hello,
bring you
welcome
back
back.
to a number of years ago. One of my first and favorite memories of Scholars of Wrestling is we went to an old place that Scholar Tarek used to be at, and we set up, and you would turn on the TV, and there on the TV would be the logo of the Scholars of Wrestling, and we would sit all together. And at the time, we had an extra gentleman with us named Dave, who joined us on said episode. I could not tell you the episode, but we all recorded, and it was what a great time we had. Flash forward to me coming on, I would say maybe about June or July. You guys can fact check me in the comments, and you boys, of course. But coming around 5 or 6 months ago, and just seeing the fun, the just how alive it is in wrestling right now. You gentlemen have hit it on the head. It's absolutely fantastic, and to spend every week here talking with you gentlemen, having some fun, taking jabs, little Jimmys, little Jeremys, all the people around. Who is champion? I'm the champion. It's all these things that we say, but truly, and yeah, one of my best memories of Scholars is able to do this every week with you gentlemen. I truly, truly look forward to it. The wise lady would tell you the exact same thing when she goes, "Are you recording tonight?" And I go, "Yep." She goes, "Do you have a bit?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to drive Scholar Jeff nuts. I'm going to drive Scholar Tarek nuts. I'm going to do something that is going to make Scholar Brian make a face. And it will all be worth it because I'm having a wonderful time talking wrestling with three great, fantastic gentlemen. And I would not trade it for the world. Thank you for letting me be a part of this ride. And I hope we can get to another 100, 200. I keep going. Well, this train don't stop.
Oh
Wait till
yeah.
episode 1000.
You know what the scary part is? I was gonna make a joke about that, but you know what? There's a higher than zero chance we actually end up doing that.
Never say
Oh boy.
never.
Just watch one day we're gonna be discovered by just we're gonna go viral out of nowhere one day just by someone stumbling across this channel, this feed, and just being like, these lunatics have been going for how long? For how many episodes? For how many years? Like, and someone will do it. Someone will go back and watch all those episodes because the internet be crazy. It's going to
Hmm.
happen.
Right? Oof.
Hey, but then again, that's why I say something like, you know what? Cool. If that's the way it goes down and someone way into the future of the YouTube landscape ends up coming across this channel and finding this far into the future, far beyond the year 2025. First of all, hi, future people. Second of all, hey, I hope you're enjoying the madness. We're glad you're here, and we're glad that we can all talk about wrestling together because we are the scholars of wrestling for a damn good reason. And we're as long as it still keeps being fun, we're all still gonna keep doing it.
Exactly.
So with that said, now is the point of our show where we turn to you, our fellow fans. What do you think of everything that's going on from the road to WrestleMania, from the road to Dynasty, all the matches that are being set up in the weeks ahead, and just this past week alone? And of course, if you're a longtime watcher and listener of the Scholars of Wrestling show, what's a favorite memory, or maybe just a favorite memory of the past 100 episodes? Whatever you think, let us know all across the internet, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, all that good stuff. And in case you want to join the conversation yourself, you can also check us out on Twitter. Fool, where can I reach you? And any messages for our after 500 episodes?
For all the people that have been following us for all these years, thank you. For all the new people, greetings. Hopefully, we're keeping you entertained. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, just finding any way you can to help expand the Scholars of Wrestling. And you can find me at the Avataric.
And Scholar Pete, any messages for fans past and present, anyone listening right now? And if they want to, where can they reach you?
Fans of the past, present, future, listen up. I need you to breathe heavy in the comments. I need you to write down that I am the true AEW Collision World Champion, and the scholars just are trying to just put us down. I mean, believe, believe, everybody, believe. They can reach me at believing at Improv Pete on Twitter, the X,
Twix.
Twix.
We're going to be doing this until we're 90. Future YouTube, future wherever this show ends up, just comment below what year you're watching this show, what year you're stumbling across this. We're going to be doing this till we're 90, or but beyond 1,000 more episodes of this. But either way, you can join in the commentary and the discussion at I'm Robbie Rage. And for all of these relevant social media links and much, much more, check us out in the description box below at our link tree. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling. And with that, that is one more show for one more week. And we're going to be back until we're 90, doing several hundred more of this madness and fun. But you already knew that if you've listened this far, because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you more for 500 episodes more. Until we're 90.